Hi, this is Rich Casaro, and you're about to witness the greatest archaeological discovery of Atlantis ever made. In 1996, a small voice inside me began calling me to Egypt to locate a lost treasure. A short time later, the same voice began calling me to Mexico. Here's what I found. The ruins of parallel triptych temples on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean, built during the same period in ancient history. These identical temples indicate that the Egyptians and Mayans, who were contemporaries, practiced the same religion. Over time I learned that all the pyramid cultures, though they arose separately, simultaneously built identical triptych temples from one side of the world to the other. Where did the triptych originate, and how could it possibly have appeared simultaneously across the globe? Are triptych temples the legacy of some older, more sophisticated civilization now lost to time? The Atlantis of 19th century scholars? If you think the word Atlantis doesn't jive with history, it depends which history you believe. There are two different versions told about history. We already know the mainstream version found in history books and dictated to us by the mass media. But there's another forbidden history that's not so widely known. It states that the origins of civilization lie at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, that our modern civilization is a distant echo of a once great kingdom named Atlantis, home to an advanced and spiritually sophisticated society. The story goes that it perished in a flood around 12,000 years ago, but survivors escaped to different parts of the world, forming new civilizations that we know today as the first cultures. Atlantis is one of the most popular but controversial ideas of the age. Could it possibly be true? Victorian-era scholars and archaeologists believed it was. The ancient world they uncovered was full of impossible coincidences. From one side of the Atlantic to the other, they discovered the parallel remains of spectacular ancient societies, cultures that were totally unconnected. Of all the structures they could have built, ancient cultures on both sides of the Atlantic chose to build pyramids. Of all the ways of disposing of their dead, they mummified them, carefully placing gold masks upon their faces. Instead of alphabets, they wrote in strange pictures called hieroglyphs. Both used corbel vault arches, and both also elongated the skulls of their children to enhance intelligence and spiritual insight. How is it that the world's first known cultures were perfectly familiar with the science behind these achievements? Stranger still, how could these parallels just appear, seemingly complete at the very beginning of history among these and other unrelated cultures? Where did this profound and universal knowledge come from? To the Victorians, it seemed inconceivable that these similar societies could have evolved separately. It was logical to think they'd all started as one unique culture that spread out. But today that logic is refuted by scholars, even ridiculed. At some point in the 20th century, an academic about-face occurred. Scholars began to summarily dismiss the logic of Atlantis, so carefully constructed by the brilliant Victorian minds of the past. The textbooks were reprinted, and the universities and their professors began a campaign to denounce, almost with anger, the Atlantis theory. We're now told that the great achievements of ancient societies were developed gradually, over time. That civilization arose in different ways by different people in different places. I challenge this belief, and the triptych anomaly is the great spearhead of this challenge. It's the key to rediscovering our lost history, lost wisdom, and lost truths. Triptychs appear globally throughout antiquity, and when we study each triptych in relation to the art, iconography, and philosophy of its builders, we find they all symbolize the same universal religion. And this makes the triptych the greatest archaeological evidence of Atlantis the world has ever known.